Hello, everybody. This is the Nerds Social Club podcast. So we don't normally do it live, and what we thought was that we just do it live, basically on the Toffee TV YouTube channel, just because it's a bank holiday tomorrow in the UK. It's normal o'clock in America. And yeah, so we just thought we'd do the podcast like we normally do at this time every week, but maybe we'd catch a few people who want to listen to it and get involved. So if you want to get involved, just use the normal channels, which are the live chat. Hello, Mathew Jarvis. He's already in the chat. So what we're going to do is as I said, we do this podcast every single week. This will be our 94th podcast. And yeah, we're just trying to pick up a few more listeners, basically, because people mightn't even know who we are and what we do. So just thought, put it on Toffee TV, bit more exposure, and see what happens. So if you want to get involved, as I said, if you want to, when we're talking about something, if you want to like jump in and like have your view on it. So when we're going to talk about like the Winter Soldier, or we talk about, or when we talk about, is it Godzilla versus Kong or Kong versus Godzilla?
Godzilla versus Kong.
Okay, so that's Aaron. Sorry, I'm just looking in the comments. So yeah, so we're just gonna have a chat. So this is not like the start, like for the podcast. I'm just like talking everyone through it who's listening. The podcast will start in a minute when I introduce the podcast. But as I said, feel free if you're watching, if you want to just come on the live chat. It's probably the easiest way. Even if you're watching via Patreon, like if you can come on the live chat, do that. If you're watching on Discord, or sorry, if you're on Discord where the link is, put it in the live chat. The same with Twitter. Just do it here because it's right in front of us, and that way we can keep an eye on it, and it's just a lot easier to deal with than going back and forth and stuff. Okay, Matty Lamb, I will use your thoughts. I've just seen them. Thank you for that, young Padawan. Yeah, so there you go. So we're just going to jump into it now like we normally do, and hopefully you enjoy it. Normally these are long as well, so...
I was going to say, it's lively though. Lively, we get into it.
Yeah, but normally but I'm not like trying to put anyone off. I'm just saying, like, you know. Okay. Right, here we go then. Welcome to the Nerd Social Club podcast, episode 94. Me and Aaron are doing this. We're doing it live. We've done this podcast. We're recording it live. Not that we don't normally record live, because that'd be a bit weird, wouldn't it, if you didn't actually record live. It's not like me talking and then like Aaron coming in and filling in the gaps afterwards. We just
always do it in segments.
Yeah. It's just I leave a gap and he responds and then comes back. No, we're actually recording this on YouTube, so there might be some people who put comments on and stuff, which will be cool, and I'm looking forward to them. It's been a busy old week, Aaron, hasn't it? A very, very busy old week. We're going to be talking about Falcon and the Winter Soldier a bit later on. We're going to be talking about Kong versus Godzilla, or Godzilla versus Kong. I still don't know what the pecking order is, and who got the pecking order. Whose agent was the person who walked in and went, "Damn it, man! My Titan deserves to be top billing in this movie franchise." So, which one is it?
I mean, you've got to imagine, like, Godzilla came in, King of Monsters, slayed, like, you know, people are literally bowing to him, all these different kaijus. So you've got to imagine his agent walked in and went, "Come on, lads." I mean, he's literally ruler of the planet. I mean, Kong was stuck on Skull Island. You know what I mean? He didn't really, like, venture. He's that grumpy old man who stays in his house like, nah, don't want any of that.
Let me just confirm something before. We're going to talk about this a bit later on, because we don't want to... Because also, we'll be talking about Falcon and Winter Soldier and this later on, so that it doesn't spoil it in case you've not seen it. But, no, I'll leave that till later, because it's not fair for me to mention something if people haven't seen it. It's only been out 2 days. So I won't mention it. People probably watch it over the weekend. So later on, when we talk about Falcon and Winter Soldier, you've had a week to watch that, and then we'll talk about Kong, Godzilla Kong at the end. In case you haven't watched it, because it's only fair that it's at the end of the show. So busy all week. Let's get into the news. We normally start by talking about what we've watched this week. I'm going to jump in straight away and say I watched the finale, the last 2 episodes of Superstore last weekend. All so the feels in the world. That's how you finish a show. That's how you finish a show. Because it was so good. What a great show. If anyone hasn't seen Superstore, check out the first 5 seasons on Netflix now. And the 6th season's just finished in America. Ways and means. But it was excellent because it was such a good show about a real sort of way of looking at the workplace in America, and how a lot of shows make it look like Homer Simpson style. Everyone goes home to a big home and has a brand new car and everything's great and rosy. But this showed you that American workers have no rights at all. They have no maternity leave. They have to beg for overtime to make ends meet. And I did genuinely feel like that the ending was just so nice, and it got wrapped up brilliantly at the end with a few little nice moments. I really loved it. Really loved it.
I know it was a fantastic show, wasn't it? Like the first couple of seasons, oh my god, I didn't know what to expect from it originally, but I went in and the first couple of seasons were just amazingly funny. They show those in between moments when they're cutting between scenes, and they're showing a kid's been left in the freezer and just kind of sitting there banging on the doors, or you get people sniffing fruit and then licking it and then putting it back and then grabbing the next one, just these weird things that I watched it with my wife and said to her constantly, oh yeah, I could definitely see that happening in Walmart. It's just these huge stores and just not enough staff to go around and cover it all, and just the mad things that happen. But yeah, no, the final season, the final episode just kind of closed off a lot of the story gaps that were going on, and it was nice to kind of see the some of the things that came through with Glenn, you know what I mean, closing off his story, and Matteo as well, worrying about what was going to happen to him next. It was nice, but yeah, it got you in the feels.
Yeah, because that storyline about Matteo was brilliant. ICE came in and took him away because he was an undocumented worker, and I thought that was outstanding that they spoke about that thing, and how it was dead funny how they got him back in the store and everything. But even after that, when he found out the thing that was going to happen, it was the worry that came to him. It was just such a well done show, and I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
Some outstanding performances as well.
Yeah, it was really good. It was for a show that isn't really, certainly over here, hasn't been talked about that much. It's one of those shows, it's stuck on ITV2 over here, and obviously it's on Netflix, and it's had no traction at all. It feels to me what Community was, and now I only got to see Community last year. Yes, we are live, by the way. If you're watching on YouTube, this is live.
Hello.
We'll just let you know we are live and we're taking comments during the show. It went under the radar. Literally, I'll be honest, Baz has just messaged me 5 minutes ago because he's watching Community, and it's just come out with a joke from it, and he said he's just pissing himself. But he said
it's so funny, Community.
But that joke will be from 2013 or 2004. Do you know what I mean? That's what's hilarious. Yeah. It's a 2014 joke, and he's just got it. And the best thing about Superstore is only finished last week, so I made up. I got to see it, catch up with it quite quickly. But it really annoyed me that show's gone under the radar here, and the likes of Community. When you see some of the crap that gets turned out and most of it ends up on E4 over here. But some of it's good, some of it's terrible. But Community and Superstore are just, and they're different ends of the spectrum almost in zaniness. Yeah. But just it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant.
I was gonna say, do you think with Superstore there's a translation issue between because you watch it in the US and you're oh yeah, it's Target, it's Walmart, it's all these other different stores, but just because of the massive layouts that these places have, there's not really an equivalent.
You have not
in
been to England for a while, have you?
Nope.
You've not been to England for a while, mate.
2012.
No, mate. You've not been in an Asda. or should I call it by its real name, the Asda. No, that's like any Asda, that gaff. It's like any Asda that over here now. With the babies in the freezer and everything, it's exactly the same. Exactly.
See,
the
when
same.
I used to go the Asda, it just used to be about food.
Yeah, but that's because you're from the Wirral. There's a difference.
Do you know the only Asda I can remember is on the it was on the Woody on the wood shirt. Oh god, that
but you had 9 Waitroses. No, I think that the actual story came across quite well. It's quite relatable. Apart from like, I mean, the work, you know, the lack of job security and the lack of maternity leave and all that kind of thing. That's what we've got to look forward to in the UK. So really, it was just giving us an idea of what we're going to get used to in the next few years. But brilliant show. Is there anything you've been watching this week?
Yeah, I watched 2 movies, and I know I was chatting to you about one of them. I watched a movie that came out a couple of years ago. It's The Big Sick with Kumail Nanjiani, and it's basically about his life, right? As a
it's a true story.
And, when he first met his wife and all that. But absolutely hilarious. And it's funny because I remember listening to a podcast when he kind of was like hyping up the movie before it came out and talking about it, and it's been one of those ones on my list and I've been wanting to get to for a long time, and I finally was like, oh yeah, I've been meaning to watch this. So funny, and it's just some of the funniest moments are like the awkward moments, like for the basic premise, it's he's a comedian, he's struggling in Seattle, and he meets this girl and he really likes her. They kind of date for a bit and they break up. Well, she ends up in hospital with this kind of like unknown sickness, and they can't figure out what's going on. They have to put her in a coma, and the movie goes from there. But those times he spent in the hospital, and he's trying to get to know his girlfriend's mum and dad. Yeah, and those moments were so funny because it's what is it, Ray? I forget his name now. The guy who played the dad, but like he's talking to the dad, and he's just funny moment. And you see how close they get, and the whole time she's just sitting there in this coma, like no idea what's going on.
Yeah, it's a great film.
Love that.
It's a great film. For the purpose of the YouTube viewers, I have just put glasses on. If that is a shock to you, it's just because I can't basically read the comments in this light. I mean, Alexander Gibson's just come out with maybe the greatest comments I've ever seen in my life. Have you all watched WandaVision? I mean, that
done a couple of podcasts on it.
That's so January, my friend. So January. No, it's a great film. It's a great film. It is a true story based on his life, and it is brilliant because it's like the idea of what's really good about it is like he meets this girl and he hasn't been going out with her long, and in fact when she gets ill, he's broke up with her, and but he feels obviously very responsible for her because she's on her own, and it's that idea of like he's trying to be accepted by a family that know that he's not the girl's boyfriend. His family don't accept him because of the choices he's made. He's not become a doctor or whatever what the family think he should. He's a comedian. He's being torn because he wants to. People are telling him to leave the comedy scene in that area. He's starting to get worn down by it because he's got to work. He's got this girl and they don't know whether she's going to live, whether she's going to die. People are saying move. The mum's trying to pressure them to move to the hospital, and it's all these factors, and also the fact of like when he goes to shows, he's having to deal with people because he's Muslim and all these kind of it's a really
it's got a lot of layers to it.
Yeah, but it's brilliantly done, and obviously he's now going to be in he's in the Eternals and he's going to be in the Obi-Wan series as well. So this guy's got a really big future ahead of him. So it's definitely worth watching the Big Sick. It's a really, and it's the reaction of when you see what happens towards the end, and the relationships between the mum and dad. It's just very stable as well. Her mum and dad, and they're staying in his apartment, and it's just all these layers keep on building and building, and it's like, and the premise underneath it is this is not even his girlfriend, which I find is absolutely brilliant.
They've just broken up. Like, he just kind of got pulled into it, and he just like, it's like the awkward thing. He just keeps coming back because the mum and dad keep asking him to come back, and it's just, it's funny because he's kind of like forced. The mum and dad like almost force him to answer some uncomfortable truths he's kind of been hiding
yeah.
from, like his mum and dad, like the girls they're trying to, the Pakistani
Well, they keep
girls
setting them
trying
up,
to
don't they? They
arrange
keep,
them.
yeah, keep trying to set them up with an
The
arranged
truth
marriage.
is out there. Like,
And it's like, the mad thing about it is some of the girls
Yeah.
are like, it would be so much easier for him to do that as well, just become that, but he doesn't. He obviously persists with it. But it's a great film. I think it's on. I think over here, I think it might be on Amazon now. I really enjoyed it.
I was gonna say in the US, that's how I watched that on Amazon Prime as well. So, and another one I watched on Amazon Prime was Bombshell. Another one from I think it was like a year or two old.
Is that the one about Fox News?
It's about Fox News.
It is, yeah.
I was not shocked by it at all, but I was also stunned at the same time. Like, you know what I mean? It was one of those, like, I knew this would kind of have like levels to it, and like as far as like some of the toxic environment that went on, but it's just one of those things. As you're kind of watching it and still seeing it, you're just like, oh my god, like it's just so hard to swallow at times, and like the people are fighting to be there, and you're like, especially some of the young women and like the women in general who were there, and you're like, how did you not know? Like, that sounds hard. I don't want to like victim blame or anything, you know what I mean? But like, it's just a toxic environment. Like, all of those men were just taking advantage constantly.
I can't believe Fox News would be a toxic environment. I just don't believe that. Just don't believe Fox News is toxic. I really don't.
But that was a good one. Nicole Kidman, Charlize Theron, Margot Robbie. I mean, the cast is phenomenal. Like the people they got like to pull in and do some of these roles. I forget the guy who plays Roger Ailes' name, and I shouldn't because he's an amazing actor. But he did a fantastic job.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant.
But really, really good movie.
Matty Lamb says Superstore has a cast which is never seen before and couldn't tell you who they are, and they're all brilliant for and that's what I like about it. I really like the cast of Superstore, and I did go back on IMDb to have a look. Some of them being like in very minor roles in a lot of comedies and stuff. So to everyone in the comments, I do not look like a geography teacher, and I do not look like a year 11 maths teacher. I actually look like a mix between...
Just don't give me any homework.
Yeah, I look like a rocker who would probably die on a plane. Go on, what else? What's going on this week? Come on, let's get into the news because we've got a lot to talk about. So let's talk trailers. Let's get into it.
Well, after last week, Friday, there was the first trailer for the Suicide Squad, and I've actually dropped another one today as well. And this
family-friendly one today.
Yeah. This wasn't the Red Band trailer. That was Friday. That was for all the lads. But yeah, no, that was just absolutely mad, pure, unabashed. James Gunn just absolutely loving it. But yeah, I mean, you've got such a weird mix of characters in there, and I think that the tagline in some of the character posters that they released was "Don't get too attached."
Don't get attached.
And I love that.
Some people have already sort of worked out what they think how they think this is going to go. Which I won't ruin by saying it, but people have sort of even by the trailers, they've worked out how they think this is going to go in terms of what you've just said. So I'm not going to ruin it. But let's be honest, the standout is King Shark. He's absolutely just. But what's brilliant is anyone who's watched Harley Quinn, the animated series, not the dreadful films. I don't care whether you like them or not. It's a dreadful film. It's just not good. The cartoon is absolutely amazing. It's so phenomenal. Funny. It is proper rated R. But King Shark is absolutely amazing, and it like literally, it's just, and all I wanted from this film was that King Shark to be in this, and they've sort of gone halfway. And obviously by doing the voice being Sylvester Stallone as well, they've just added something to it. But I genuinely like the concept of Suicide Squad, and I really want that David Ayer cut. And last week we spoke about that, and we talked about that, and I think down the road we'll get that. We won't get that at the moment because they don't want that confusion. I do think down the road we'll get it, but this looks like it fulfills that, because number one, I don't think he's scared to kill people off. And number two, it's got his kind of quirky interactions, which we see in Guardians of the Galaxy. And I think it just hits the right notes. And that trailer, I think, showed straight away that he's not scared to jump in and play with really weird characters and just let them run wild.
I mean, my favorite bit of the trailer was just the interaction with Peacemaker when they're on the beach.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, you can eat a bag of dicks," and he's just like, "If I had to do that for peace, and this whole beach was full of dicks, I would eat every single one of them." And you're like, "Oh my god, this is just going to be mental. Like, this is just going to be one of those weird films, man." John Cena, phenomenal.
Yeah. And then in the other trailer, he's like, "I'll kill every man, woman, and child for peace." It's like brilliant. Fair
it's
enough.
so serious as well, like, you know what I mean? And like, did they realize that just doesn't add up? You know what I mean? Like,
I like John Cena though. I mean, he's a B-Tech rock, but he is good. You know what I mean? It's like he has got. I'll be honest. I never really thought he could get into major films. I always thought he was like a WWF film star. You know what I mean?
I was going to say, he tried to do a couple of films early on, and I think he did one called like The Marine or something like that. Yeah, and it just looked kind of like, again, it was just trying to follow in The Rock, and like, it was a B movie, like straight to VHS. I was just like, I don't know. But since then, I've seen some of the other films he's done. You know what I mean? Have you seen Cock Blockers?
No, I've not seen that.
It's funny. He plays a dad to a high schooler, and there's the three of them, and they've got daughters, and the daughters are trying to lose.
It's not called Cock Blockers over here. It's called it's called something Prom or something. Yes, but this is Britain, for God's sake. We do not call film Cock Blockers. No, it's called. I want to hear about
your penis. Put it away.
Yeah. It's called Winkle Blockers.
But yeah,
Willie Savers.
John Cena is funny, and you know what? Another good one he did there was Bumblebee. I thought he was really good in Bumblebee. Actually,
he's good. Yeah, the other night.
Did you finally get to watching the last blockbuster?
I haven't watched it yet. No, give me a chance. Give me a chance. I'm too busy watching Godzilla and Kong and I had to watch this. I had to watch the other King Kong, and I didn't even mention that. I had to watch the other one the other night, King of the Monsters.
That's right. Yeah,
I had to watch Godzilla King of the Monsters first, which was okay as well. I'll be honest with those films. I do like the theory more than like anything else. It's more like the ideas are better than what gets fulfilled. But we'll talk about that later. Look, it looks great. It looks James Gunn.
So good.
Looks good. DC, I think, is getting on track by just letting people do what they want. But essentially, just be like, yeah, there's no real continuity. There's no continuity, but it's not like an X-Men continuity where they try and have a continuity. It's like it's like
just
comic.
Say, this isn't a different universe.
Well, it's not even that. They just do what comics do and just go, well, yeah, he did that thing last week, but he's doing this thing this week, and we're not going to talk about that thing last week, and we're going to stick to this week. Do you know what I mean? That thing of like, we're just not going to mention what happened before. We're going to have all the same characters, or a lot of the same characters, but we're just not going to mention what happened before. And whereas the MCU completely relies on that continuity, the DC universe has decided now it's just going to go, that was Monday, this is Wednesday, and we're not going to mention Monday because it was too horrific. And it's just like that, you know what I mean? Everyone's a Winter Soldier, everyone has the brain wiped at the end of it. And I like that. As long as you don't go, oh no, that's stupid because that can't happen. Just avoid those kind of things and it'll all be fine. Simple as that.
Yeah, pretty much. Just move on and don't have to worry about the Enchantress doing this the whole movie. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
again, that doesn't really work if you're listening to the podcast because you've got.
No. I just did a silly dance. It's fine.
No, but no one could see you doing a silly dance on the podcast.
Okay. For listeners of the podcast, I did a silly dance.
You've forgotten your roots already.
Into your man.
We've been doing a video for 25 minutes, and you've already forgotten your roots.
What can I say?
Yeah, Suicide Squad looks fantastic. I look forward to that. When's that coming out?
That is coming out in August.
Amazing. What else did we have?
Also announced this week was some of the cast of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show on Disney Plus. So we've got Ewan McGregor, obviously we knew he was coming back. Hayden Christensen playing Darth Vader. I haven't got my glasses now and I'm having a hard time reading. Zoom in here. Oh, Moses Ingram, Joel Egerton, Bonnie. PS. I don't know.
Well, they're coming back.
Kumail Nanjiani.
They're obviously coming back, aren't they? That's Uncle. That's Uncle and Auntie Doodah.
Yeah.
You know,
Uncle Auntie Doodah.
You know,
I'm just gonna let you struggle for a little while.
No, I'm just gonna say, you know, his Luke's auntie and uncle that we, you know, when we were all kids, seen their burnt bodies still with smoke coming off them. You know,
no trauma at all. Just like
you know, I guess, like. Yeah, we're just watching Star Wars. I mean, nothing bad happens apart from seeing the bodies of two people that we've interacted with all the way through the film, and it's just like Luke's just like, oh God, you've killed me auntie, and not only have you killed them, you've burnt them to death and left them on the field. Nice one.
Yeah, like no tears or anything like that. Just like, all right, I guess we move on. But yes, obviously they're coming back to play Luke's aunt and uncle. And then you've got
it's Uncle Owen, isn't he? Uncle Owen.
Uncle Owen.
And Auntie
Baru, is it?
I'm going to say Vera.
Kumail Nanjiani is going to be in it.
Yeah. Go on. No, it's got a good cast. It's got a good cast, and obviously
India Varma from Game of Thrones. Isn't it?
Yeah. Who was obviously the Viper's sister and also lover, which is just Game of Thrones for you, isn't it?
It's part of the course, isn't it?
Yeah, it is part of the course. Yeah, it's got a really good cast, and obviously it's got Hayden Christensen coming back as Darth Vader as well, which is that's really interesting. That they're like saying he's Darth Vader. So I mean, do we think we're gonna get like flashbacks? So do you know what I mean? Are we gonna get flashbacks showing him? Because it would just seem weird unless we're going to get that kind of Rebels thing where someone smashes his face in and you get to see him under the mask.
I mean, I think it would be a missed opportunity if he didn't. Do you know what I mean? Like a chance to come back and kind of add to the depth. Like, I mean, because that's the thing. You and I have both watched Clone Wars. A lot of people have kind of gone back and, you know, watched Clone Wars now, but there's so much more character development there and story that adds to that whole trilogy and just really like beefs it out versus if you just watch the prequels and it really just kind of falls a little flat. So I'd love them to use this space to kind of explain, you know, explore that relationship in a bit better depth with a flashback. You know, it doesn't have to be the entire, it could just be like a 20-minute thing or, you know, just something like he has some sort of dream and he, you know, remembers something, or, you know, something like that. But no, I
hope it's dreams. I hope it's dreams of Anakin complaining about sand.
I hate sand.
I hate sand and I hate you. I hate you. You're the reason. Matthew Lamb says it's Auntie Baru, and Lucas says yes. I think we will get flashbacks. So there you go. I hope we do get flashbacks. Otherwise, it'd just be a complete waste. You're just putting them in there for like no reason, aren't you? You're putting them in there for no reason.
I mean, you're putting them in a suit, and I mean, even then, like, is he going to do the voice, or are they going to have someone come back and do the voice? Because again, if he's just in a suit and he's not doing the voice, what's the point? Like you said, like other than like some sort of reveal where he gets his helmet smashed in or something like that. But yeah, no, I mean they've got to pay it off more than that, really. You know what I mean?
Marty Lamb wants little scenes with Hayden Christensen in the healing chamber where Vader goes to eat and relax. I don't know if he goes to eat and relax. I don't think he goes to eat and relax. I think what he does is
he goes to the Death Star cantina and like, just going in my room, no one bother me.
But he goes to heal, doesn't he? Because he's basically in perpetual pain. He's basically in perpetual pain. He's not going for a BLT. Do you know what I mean? He's not going in for a Subway, foot long.
Sitting there playing his Xbox.
Yeah.
His PS5.
Just by the way, just looking at some of the comments, we are focusing on nerd stuff because this is the Nerd Sociable podcast. We're not focusing on anything else, anything football related. So you can ask the question as many times as you want, Ultimate God, but we're not talking about football. This is not a football podcast. So sorry about that, mate. Yeah,
Nerd starting 11.
So of course we've got that'd be good. Lucas says they've waited Christensen in the Rise of Skywalker. by just using the voice and cutting scenes, so they can't waste them again. But they wasted them by putting him in Star Wars because he was a brutally terrible actor. But you know, that's just the way it is. It is sad.
Again, I go back to Clone Wars and just like, I mean, you mentioned it. You watched Clone Wars.
The Clone Wars characters, it's fantastic.
Yeah, just a better development and like, because even he comes across more as a commander. Like he gets stuck in the action and he can lead, and he's kind of brash, and he's very opposite to Obi-Wan. He just jumps in, but he doesn't come off as like this spoiled child or this like whiny child or anything like that. Like
he's let's be honest,
he's a general, isn't he? He's general, General Skywalker.
He's just a dick, isn't he, in the films? But he's great in
like with the Clone Wars. You can see like, oh, that's how he becomes Darth Vader. You can see it. You know what I mean?
David Gibson says, "Do you think Darth Maul will be in Obi-Wan?" I don't know whether I don't think this time is between Obi-Wan going to Tatooine to Star Wars, and obviously Maul dies. He does die. He does die in between, doesn't he? He does die in between. So
he dies right before. I mean, I guess it's kind of right before A New Hope, right? Or no, sorry, it's right before Rogue One. Because that's Rebels is set right before Rogue One, so he
does definitely deserve to have that scene in this show. So I hope they do. I hope they don't make it a big focus, because we've already had it used in Rebels, and Rebels did a great job of it. So I
mean, there's definitely something more to explore with Maul, because you had like the nod with Solo, how he's like the boss of Crimson Dawn, you know what I mean? So, but I don't know if that'll be explored in this. Also, this is just a limited series as well.
Yeah, it is. Ultimate God, I'll read out this comment because it's a nerd one. It says, the reason Darth Vader went to the Bacta tank was to meditate and relax, because the suit was extremely uncomfortable for him, and he would think about Padme and stuff. Yeah, definitely, that's exactly why he went. It would probably be like having the worst sunburn ever, but also having like a terrible, uncomfortable like suit on over it. So of course he wanted to take it off now and again, didn't he? He also said Darth Maul would still be in the cave with his spider legs. Yeah, well, he would, but you can jump around, can't you? You can go full House of Pain and you can jump around with the time.
I think the spider legs was during Clone Wars though, so that would have happened between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith.
No, but you can mess around with the time, can't you? You don't.
You can still.
I hope they don't. I hope they don't. I hope what they do is they go, no, that's for season 2. And I know they're only saying it's a limited run, but if it's good and people want it, they'll bring it back. Of course they will. So
a great shout from Ultimate God. Imagine if they'd done a Darth Maul screaming Kenobi in the final.
Be amazing.
Season
obviously we got a trailer as well for the Bad Batch, which comes out on May the 4th,
so
and that looks brilliant. And it showed you a little bit more about who they are and what they're doing, and how that moves them on, and how they can't be controlled by the chips or anything. So that looks really good as well, because it looks like he's going to turn everyone against them.
Well, yeah, and I think, it's funny because watching this trailer, I remember, when you and I had the conversation, knowing that this series was coming up, and you were hoping it would explore some of that, like, moving forward as far as after Order 66, and kind of like seeing like what that meant for the clones, and how the Empire address it, and like what did they get up to essentially. So and the animation stepped up. Like from when we had like Clone Wars and Rebels, it looks absolutely high class.
It does. It looks really good.
And we got a bit of a Mandalorian cameo from Fennec Shand as well.
Yeah, we did, which is good. It's good to get a bit of delve into her backstory a little bit.
And it's literally just voiced by like one guy doing like
he does all of them, doesn't he? Does like all of them.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was always surprised about with Clone Wars going back. Like he was always able to give a voice to each of his characters that kind of felt a bit different. You know what I mean? You've got like Rex and Echo and all those ones, like that. You know how they sound. Like Rex always had that commanding voice and stuff. So yeah, no, I'm excited about this one.
It's called acting.
Yeah. But yeah, so May 4th that comes out. I'm very excited about
date for it to come out. Ultimate God, I don't think Grogu gets killed by Kylo Ren, and if you ever say that again, there will be people hunting you down to have a word with you. No,
Grogu is loved.
Grogu will live forever. There you go. So what's next? What's going on? What else have we got this week?
What else did we have this week? There was a couple of other trailers I'll just kind of blast through very quickly. We did have a trailer for Jason Statham's Wrath of Man. It's all right. It's just Jason Statham film.
Well, it's essentially like another revenge film, isn't it? It's very much in the same way of John Wick. It's the same way of Taken. It's the same way as the guy from Better Call Saul. Oh, what's his name? Bob. What's his name?
The film Nobody.
Yeah. It's these like
Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah, it's like middle-aged men have a revenge film, basically, isn't it? You know,
essentially.
You stole my pen from work.
I mean, it's Denzel Washington's done a few of them as well.
Yeah, he has the Equalizer and stuff. The Equalizer and stuff, yeah. No, they make money. The low budget, they make money. The difference with this one is that obviously it's directed by Guy Ritchie, yeah. So it's got a little bit of like, it feels like it's got a bit more not greedo. So I'm using the wrong word. It's got a little bit of something else, you know. So a bit of kudos to it, hasn't it? So should be interesting. It's just Jason Statham shooting people, really, isn't it? Just shooting
essentially,
people,
yeah.
Which is fine if he wants to go around shooting people, as long as he does it only in a film, then that's fine.
We also got a trailer for Rick and Morty Season 5 coming in June, and I just love a bit of Rick and Morty. It's just amazing animation. For anyone who likes that as well, I recommend Solar Opposites, which is on Disney Star for you guys, and it's on Hulu over here. We also got another trailer for The Handmaid's Tale.
Yes! So excited.
Trailer for... Yeah.
The Handmaid's Tale, let's just jump into The Handmaid's Tale for 2 seconds. If anyone hasn't seen The Handmaid's Tale, it is the show you should be watching, because it is like one of those shows where it's like when people go, it's weird because when people go watch it, I don't think anyone mentions Handmaid's Tale enough. It's so good, and the story is eerily close to the world, and this season looks brilliant because it looks like it just looks like, obviously for her, she's going back to Gilead and she's going guerrilla combat style on them all, and she's doing things her own way, and it looks quite savage in a way. It looks really savage, like, you know, she's going to get a revenge on some people, but some people are going to give her a good beating, and she's going to get people involved, and friends become enemies, and enemies become friends, and you know, got a little story there, got a nice beginning, and
yeah, no, it's one of those ones. It's funny when I hear people mention the Handmaid's Tale, like, oh, I should have watched it. I don't know much about it. Is it good? Like, how do you explain it? And it's just, it literally is like, you know, if our society continued going the way it was for a while, you'd be like, we weren't far away from that. Like,
the best way to describe it is if Twitter was real life. I think, essentially, it's if Twitter was real life. That's what would happen if you just walked up to people and just said what you felt, not what you felt, but what you say on Twitter to their faces, especially to females. Essentially, it's basically if every
horrific scenes,
it's basically if every right-wing male man got to do what they wanted. That's what would happen.
And I mean, even the right-wing women as well. You know what I mean? Like. Because, like, they naively, like, you know, see some of the scenes, like, oh, we're building this society, and then as soon as the men get involved, they're like, yeah, but you're not next to us on the same level. In the hierarchy, it goes men, women, and you see all these like the wives and stuff. Yeah, it's just it's horrible.
No, there's some
Because
horrible
then they
scenes
take
in
that
it.
frustration out, and it's bad. It's just so bad.
There's some scenes where obviously the scenes from in the past where you see how it all unfolds, and it's it is dark, like very, very dark. So it's definitely one to watch if you're looking for something to watch. It is really good.
Absolutely. There was also 2 more trailers. There was one for Spiral from the Book of Saw. I'm not really into the Saw films, but it came out this week.
I don't care.
Yeah. There was one, and I don't know, we hadn't mentioned this, but it's interesting because it's called The Mitchells versus the Machines.
Oh, I've seen the trailer for this. But it's going on Netflix, isn't it? I seen the trailer for this ages ago about the girl who's going like to college.
I think essentially that the new trailer kind of tells it like basically a different story, but yeah, it's basically this like coming of age girl, you know, she's like you said, probably going off to college, but then machines invade the planet, and this family basically is trying to survive and like trying to rescue the other humans. And it's the same animation studio that did Into the Spider-Verse, and it's the same producers. It's Lord and Miller, who did Into the Spider-Verse as well.
I don't think it was. I don't think it was going to go on Netflix. I think it's just ended up on Netflix because of everything going on. So I think originally it was.
I mean, everything's really changing the dynamics since the pandemic, obviously. So,
definitely.
But in big news, speaking about Netflix, good segue. Cool. They have paid $450 million to land the rights for the sequel and the third film for Knives Out.
Brilliant. That's a big move. I mean, that's a really good film. Really, really clever film.
Fantastic.
So to get the second and the third, and you know you're gonna get like, because the thing about that is all the people like the people who were in it all loved it, and you know you're gonna get like a really good diverse cast in it of like good big stars. You've got Daniel Craig, and he's already basically said he wants to come back, so you've got him straight away. You've got him locked in.
Yeah.
So straight away you know you get a credible film, and you're going to put out on Netflix, and it's going to be quality, and it might be the kind of film that, like, Netflix has had good films, don't get me wrong, it's had Oscar-worthy films, but it might be that kind of film that is like a real popular film and drags people into the platform, and you know, that's exactly what they need now, because obviously we're in this era now where everyone expects big things from streaming sites because of what Disney Plus is doing, and I think Netflix have to step it up, because it's great, they've got all these great shows, and they've got like sort of good streaming movies, but I do think they need to get like a good franchise of their own, and I think I think that could do wonders for what people think of what are streaming movies, because I do genuinely feel like that's the next thing. Series is fine, you know, you look on Disney Plus, you look on Netflix, you look on Amazon, they're absolutely fine.
Yeah,
you get good TV shows. I just think the movies have always just been that little bit off. And I just think this one could be the one that pushes them up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, of all things for Netflix to go after, I mean, what a fantastic property. Like when you look at like Knives Out, and I mean that first film was just something else. Like I saw a lot of like critics reviews like ranting and raving about it, and you know, coming from Rian Johnson as well, and he was coming off the back of The Last Jedi, and I was like, you know, kind of dubious about it, but when you watch it, I mean, Chris Evans like plays such a good asshole, and it was just so good to see him in such a different role, like you know, versus like
don't ruin it.
Don't ruin it.
Don't ruin it.
Yeah, but like the whole family dynamic in general. Like
I really liked it because I thought it was
so good,
especially off like with the Made on the Orient Express come out about a year before that, and I really like that. I do like films with like ensemble casts. Where you know, and the way that was very traditional, it was good, but obviously it's traditional as an old-fashioned story, where this was the same kind of thing but like for a new generation, and I hope we have like a bit of a relaunch of the ensemble cast, because I do really like that, how real big actors play off each other, but they're only actually in the film for like maybe 15 minutes or whatever. So yeah, it's
Yeah, it was just interesting as well because you had like Anna de Armas, and you kind of like we're here as far as like she's the narrator of the story, but
Yeah.
just like seeing this family is just just
Mhm.
mad. Like it's such a good film. Like, and it's a shame as well because you look at that and you're like, that was an amazing film, and then you look at The Last Jedi and you're like, oh come on, how did we? Those two things just don't jive, do they? Like,
Yeah.
so no,
Ryan
but no,
Johnson.
I'm happy. Netflix kind of launched the money into that, obviously, because that's the thing. Now you can go into a second film and take it any direction you want. So you're not really tied
Mm.
to the rules that the first film set out, are you?
No, all it is it. Well, I mean, the rules are that there'll be like a murder or something, and obviously he'll be the detective, but it'll be a completely different cast. It's got to be a completely different cast. So very much like the next Murder on the Nile will be a completely different cast as well. It's exactly the same thing. I mean, that's the point of those kind of films. So you can change it. You can change it up, but you still have the main character in it, and to me that's perfect that you do that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I mean, other than that, like I was surprised this was announced from Netflix themselves as well. But like you said, they're looking. We're in the middle of the streaming wars right now. Like Disney Plus is up over 100 million subscribers and like really coming to town. Like they're coming after Netflix as far as like from a business sense of things. Like Prime's just
Yeah.
kind of doing their own thing. HBO Max is obviously trying to compete at the moment. They're doing what they can. So
Yeah.
it's an interesting move from Netflix. So I mean,
Yeah.
we'll have to see if it pays off for them.
Yeah, David Gibson says Daniel Craig was great in that movie. He was. The accent was fantastic, and he really played it. And Tom 02 says the murder
I
on
do
the
declare.
I do declare. Tom 02 says the murder on the Nile has been delayed till 2022. It has, but it's been made at least. It's been made. So I know it's been delayed, and but at least it's been made. That's the main thing.
Those things will start to get shuffled around now that we're getting like hopefully into a period where more and more people are getting vaccinated. So
yeah. I mean, listen, it's been made. That's all really bothers me. It's been made, and we go forward, and it'll come out. It's just one of those things. You've got to have these films timed. That's the kind of film I would imagine would come out in the early part of the year, maybe between February and May, before the blockbuster season comes out. So So I think that's why it's been pushed till next year. What are we talking about right now? Move on. Let's move on. Come on. Let's keep the train going.
did you watch the Mighty Ducks as well?
Well, Tomo02 in the comments says, did anyone watch the new Mighty Ducks? So he's ahead of us. He's ahead of us in the comments.
He must be in Australia or something like
that.
The
Mighty Duck, New Zealand. Mighty Ducks Game Changers. Yes, I am a huge fan of the original Mighty Ducks.
So good.
Yeah, so good. Classic, underdog's tale that we all loved. Coach Bombay, quack, quack, quack. Yes, sir, no, sir, quack, quack, quack. The Flying V. It was just utter nonsense in many ways, but that's what we love.
Ate it up.
And yeah, we did. And this, I really, really enjoyed this first episode. I had no concept or idea or anything for this show. I just wanted to watch it, and I really enjoyed it. It was. I really loved the mum. I really loved the idea of like, basically she was like when she did the speech about how nuts everyone was because their kids were all like doing all this like extra curriculum to become hockey players, and she was like, none of you are gonna play professional hockey, you know that, don't you? Like, and I love that because that's like that you see so much of that in not only in this country, but obviously in America is obviously big, but over here it's getting worse and worse. Where all like the kids are getting like everything's like getting treated like professionals, and it's just stupid as far as I'm concerned. And I really like that side of it, and then I like the kids trying to build their own team, and then the idea of Coach Bombay, owning an ice rink, hating ice hockey, getting the money so they could play.
Eating cake.
The cake was the best thing. I really identified with the cake. I also really identified with the lad who said, I've got a podcast body. Because again, I identified with him.
I laughed way too hard at that part.
I thought that was a great line. No, I've got more of a podcast body. I just thought that was a brilliant line. And it was just really nice. And it was the kind of show where, you could sit down. I imagine, you could sit down with your kids and watch it and find it funny. Do you know what I mean? Like it wasn't like one of those Disney Channel shows where it's like, it's a little bit sickly and it's like the jokes are very like on the nose, but they're very massively aimed at the kids. It was more like where there was a little bit for everyone in it. I mean, it was a kid show, but at the same time, it just gave you enough. Like the trouble, like Coach Bombay's troubles were just, you as an adult, you could just be like, yeah, I identify with that. I wouldn't be arsed with life either. I'd just be eating all the cakes. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's hard on the outside, but it's soft in the inside. You just eat round it. And I loved the cynicism of him. I really did. Where his
comedic timing was on par. Like, it was one of those things watching him, like, become like Coach Bombay again, and just like, oh, I've missed watching him. Like, you know what I mean? You remember when you go back and you watch the Mighty Ducks, and like, Emilio Estevez really was fantastic. Like, it's a shame he didn't like, go on and do more things. Like, but watching him in this, like, I'm just getting like nostalgic, watching his performance. But yeah, and Lauren Graham was fantastic. The kids were funny as hell. Like the little kid who podcasted, his timing on everything, like his delivery was spot on.
Well, it was good as well because he said, Emilio Estevez said he would never come back to do like not the Ducks as such, but he didn't like want to do any reboots, anything of his old films. Yeah. But I think the fact that Stephen Brill, who wrote and directed the original films, did it for this as well was brilliant. The fact that they got the original guy back to come and continue the story was fantastic. So David Gibson says, I hope some of the original Ducks turn up in the series. Well, there was a picture last week, David, of some of the original Ducks, and I don't know if you want them back because it will make you feel very, very old. Some of them look like they've had really tough lives. So
based on what they've released, I'm still expecting a few more cameos as well. I think Disney's got a big enough pull that what they've released is just like a snippet, and I definitely think we'll see more. Because I mean, if we don't get Charlie Conway, I mean, what's the point?
What's the point in life?
Like, I definitely think we're gonna get Charlie Conway at some point. So, no, it was just a fun episode. Me and my wife were watching it, and she just smiling the whole way through because again, it was just that it really captured that whole kind of like nostalgic feeling of the first couple of films. So
yeah,
I'm glad. But like you said, it wasn't too cheesy as kids. It wasn't like more adults. It just hit that good family era.
And they're the shows we've been calling for, aren't they, on Disney Plus? Like, that bringing things back, but also making sure they're good and making sure there's an element of nostalgia, but something going forward as well. So,
and not necessarily trying to like recreate it, but like just add into it, more of a sequel, than like just trying to redo the whole thing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, like I know in this they are gonna like get a new team and everything, and it's got the spirit of the original, and the Ducks, and in a way that's good though, isn't it? So it's good that like the Ducks have become this great franchise of a junior hockey team, because that's what they were striving to be. So that's just natural, isn't it? So you can't. It's just like the coach is just such a dick. Like he's such a bellend. Like some of the things he was saying, like
Well, and it's funny, isn't it? Because like the progression for like Gordon Bombay, like he was on the Hawks, obviously, and the Hawks were like that. Then he left, didn't do anything with that, became a coach for the Ducks, and took them where they needed to be. And now the Ducks are that way, so it's almost like his like internal struggles, constantly watching these things that he loves, just become like too competitive and too corporate.
Yeah, I really like the kid who was good at like playing ice hockey on the PlayStation, and it was just like typical of like where we are right now.
And they're like throwing things. Oh, when the one kid goes to like throw a hammer, and he's like, "Whoa!"
I thought that was a really good sort of again, another good note to where we are at the moment. We're like, can you play hockey? Because you're really good at it on the computers. Like,
I was going to say, and then you get that one Canadian kid turn up and like he's all
everyone does.
Maple Leaf skin and like.
I thought that was brilliant. It's just like, there's that one kid that always turns up and he's amazing. You know, if you've
got like dead expensive gear. And
it's like in Remember the Titans when Sunshine turns up and they're like, Sunshine, and he's like amazing quarterback, and because they've got another quarterback he never plays, but then he gets a chance and he's amazing and all the girls love him, and this kid's like, you see him with his blonde hair and he just he can't skate. I thought that was brilliant. Tomo says that kid will become their Bash brother. I hope he does. David Gibson says the Ducks become the Hawks from the original. They did become the Hawks, but that's just natural progression, I would imagine, just because they were good. They become the bad guys. Live long enough to see yourself become the bad guys, as as Harvey Dent said. Gone
real Batman.
Gone dark. Real dark. Gone real dark for the Ducks. It's all that cake. No, it's good. I'm looking forward to the
come down.
I'm looking forward to the second episode. How many episodes are in the season, do you know?
Do not know. I can look it up quick. Do you think the show works well as a weekly? Like, because obviously for anyone who's first time listening, like, you know, we talked about WandaVision and how good that was as a weekly drop, like the anticipation, the theories we all like talked about. But like, does something like this lend itself to a weekly that, you know, where kind of you want to keep watching it and it's kind of light?
Because it's just a normal show, isn't it? I mean, Disney are not going to do they're not going to do multi-drops. They're going to do weeklies because they want people to stay on. That's what they've decided, and I've always said I 100% agree. It's not that I'm not a fan of multi-drops. It's just that when you do stuff where you want to, like, especially Marvel stuff, when you want to theorize about it, it's just better, because if I'm not saying I'd binge watch it, but it's more that thing of like, when you haven't got something to watch, you stick it on, and I'm not sure if you fully pay attention. Whereas when something's once a week, I am just fully honed in on it. I am absolutely glued to that show for when it's on. Whereas I think when things are dropped quickly, I think there's that thing of like, I need to watch this quick, because if I don't, it'll get ruined for me, and I don't always know if you're paying attention to it. And then, because how often do you watch something in quick succession and then within a few hours or within a week you've completely forgot about it? Like The Boys season 2, I've literally forgotten about The Boys season 2, a lot of like the finer details to it. Whereas like WandaVision, all of it sticks in my head, because you have all week to pry over it and go on like YouTube and listen to stuff like this and theorize about it. Whereas, it just doesn't work for me when it's dropped all at once. I'd actually really love if Netflix left Stranger Things weekly. I think that would be brilliant.
Yes, yeah, because there's a lot of those episodes that just kind of get lost in the shuffle, because you're either talking about one amazing moment or you're talking about the finale. Like, everyone's kind of just reviewing the show in general. Like you said, everything else just kind of, you lose all those finer details of it, in that discussion. Versus, like, if you let each episode breathe, you can kind of like break it down a bit further and like really enjoy it.
Ryan Welsh says shows should be weekly, as when they drop the whole series in one go, it was forgotten about 2 weeks later. I absolutely agree.
I would say within a week. Usually, like, the shelf life is about a week, and everyone gets dead into it, and then it's just gone.
It comes and goes.
Like, and then it's tough as well, because if you can't binge it quick enough and you want to talk about it with someone, and like, they haven't watched it yet. Like,
and they haven't watched it. You've got all it's like, obviously when we're doing the pods for like say Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we have no issue coming on here and being like talking about it, because you've had all week to watch it as far as we're concerned. Whereas like, if something drops last Friday and there's 10 episodes, then how can we get to the next week and really get into it and then go over the finer details of it? So no, I much prefer it, and I think this just lends itself, because I just think it's I think it drops on a Friday, and it gives people a chance over the weekend to to watch it in their own time, in their own time. So without really worrying about anyone ruining it. Tomo02 says in the comments they're using Newsham Park Asylum for Arkham Asylum in the new Batman film. I don't think that's true, Tomo, because I live not that far from Newsham Park Asylum, and it is a very scary place. And I know they do like raves in there, and they have haunted nights in there. That I don't think they're filming Batman though, because
braver people than us.
I would be well aware if they were filming Batman in there. Very, very aware. In fact, I'd probably be sleeping there. So I don't think that's necessarily true. They did use the great Aintree Anfield cemetery. Obviously,
I was gonna say they used some of the tunnels, didn't they, in different places? I think it was just like I don't think they did any like acting. It was just almost like through scenes.
No, the tunnels didn't do any acting. I mean, they'd have to be really good actors, wouldn't they?
I'm a tunnel.
Just talking about Batman, obviously, I don't know you'll have seen because I'll have told you, but there's a new Batman coming out, Batman the Detective, and it's all set in Europe. And the first place the landing in Europe is Liverpool, and the cover is the Liver Buildings. And I've ordered 2 copies, one for reading and one signed. That is going up in a frame. And basically, Batman comes to Europe, I think it's something to do with Robin getting killed, and he comes to Europe to invest. I think he goes to Russia as well. I've seen another cover where he's in Moscow, but it's a Liverpool cover. Apparently, the guy who wrote it is a big Liverpool fan. We won't hold that against him. But yeah, I got him.
Oh, it's not Tom King.
No, it's Tom.
Yeah,
something.
no, I know who you mean. Yeah, he's from Australia. He's a big Liverpool fan.
Tomo was saying there were Arkham vans outside about 3 weeks ago. I mean, I'm not saying you're not telling me the truth. It's just that, number one, what's an Arkham van? And number two, I have not heard anything about this, and I'm not saying, I should know about it. I just think we would have heard about it, unless they are filming literally exteriors. But I'm not convinced about that. But maybe they are, but I'm not convinced, because they did wrap up filming a while ago. And why didn't they film those scenes while they were here? So, yeah, we'll see. Listen, you might be right. You might be absolutely right. Matthew Lamb says, I hope Stranger Things doesn't go on for loads of seasons, doing the same repetitive stories. It's already hard to differentiate episodes and seasons. Shut up, Matty. That's all I'm going to say. I want it forever. I want it till they are old people and going, we need to go in the upside down.
Well,
we got to go in the upside down.
Get your walking, Joe.
No, I think there'll be one more season, because those kids have aged up so quickly that it's.
And this pandemic certainly hasn't helped that.
Yeah.
But no, I think Duffer Bros has said about 6 seasons. They had a very clear arc for what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be shocked with that.
Scorgy says they use part of the university buildings for Harry Potter Forgotten Beasts. I don't think it's Forgotten Beasts, is it? Creepy old hospital corridors for the asylum field. Yeah, they filmed loads in Liverpool. They filmed absolutely loads. They were filming? What were they filming here? They were filming something here last week. I can't remember if it is off from here, but they were filming something. What were they filming here last week? Oh, it's gone out my head, but it was something.
Movie or show based or.
Oh, what were they filming? It'll come back to me. Right, let's move on. What are we talking about? Let's move on.
I think we should jump into either Godzilla versus Kong or.
Let's do Falcon, because I want to leave Godzilla to the end. Yeah. No, I thought right, Falcon and Winter Soldier, I thought it was a really good episode for many reasons. Obviously we got them together finally. We got them on a mission.
Yes.
We got a little bit more of the flag smashers. We dealt with the fact that they've got superhuman, super soldier qualities. We found out basically it looks like they've stolen the serum. We found out that there's a secret super soldier that came after Captain America, who was African American.
Bradley.
But one of the things I was really surprised at, and I don't know why I was surprised at, just maybe in the marketing, but how quickly the new Captain America came into it. So obviously at the beginning we got the scenes where he's having a big public reveal. He goes back to his old school. He's quite nervous behind the scenes. He does his coming out, and we've got the Star Spangled Banner, the new version of it. He does an interview with Good Morning America.
Good morning, America.
And then we get the scenes where he meets like Bucky and Falcon, and we find out that he's like a cocky tit, who looks too much like Harry Kane for my liking. And we found out that I didn't realize he was going to come into it and like join up with them to go on a mission. I didn't realize that was going to happen so quick. I almost felt like he was going to be like a character that was like to the side, and we heard about him and we saw him on TVs, but we never really interacted with him. So the fact that he's like straight away interacting with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I found really surprising, but also a good like juxtaposed to their partnership with Captain America and his partner.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was surprising, because I think that's one of the things that we theorized about, and I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but we basically thought that he was going to be more of the face of the campaign, the marketing face of the US military, because essentially what happens now is you've identified that he is part of the government. So every time he gets sent in somewhere, it's kind of like, what kind of political tension does that cause? Like now he's being in Europe, going after the flag smashers. Like, is that, sanctioned by, whoever, as far as like world governments exist? But yeah, no, it came in a lot quicker. But I thought Wyatt Russell did a fantastic job, because he kind of goes on that weird arc for the episode. Isn't it? At the beginning, you're like, I was just going to say, in the beginning, you're kind of like, oh, he's just trying to be, the best he can be.
Yeah.
He's just trying to do like, it's an honorable job for Captain America, but then by the end you're just like, you're a knobhead.
And basically what we find out as well, I mean, apart from the fact that he looks 10 times better not wearing a helmet than he does wearing a helmet, because he looks like Super Grover when he's wearing the helmet, is that he basically he isn't enhanced, he's just like the best human he can be. So he's like the peak of fitness, the peak brain, the peak stealth, the peak tactics, everything is as good as he can be. But he's not, when we see that scene with when he's fighting the flag smashers and he gets his arse handed to him, and I think basically, I'm just going to throw it out there right now, he gets his arse kicked again. Someone says to him, we need to juice you up. He takes some juice and it sends him mental. That's
the Abomination all over again.
Yeah, that's where I'm going with it. That's what I think is going to happen. I think that's it. He can't, because you seen him. He got kicked off the lorry, and he just couldn't cope with them. And even Winter Soldier had a bit. Bucky had a difficult time fighting them. So they're obviously enhanced, and whoever is enhanced them, I think, will play both sides, and will offer him the chance to grab some, and he'll take it, because it'll be a case of he'll start doubting himself, and if he can't be the best he can be at being human, then he's going to need something else. And I think that's what it is. It's going to be the old Stead story where he's going to take something, and I don't think it's going to push him physically over the edge. I think it's going to push him mentally over the edge.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think there's some validity there, just because, like you said, with the power broker, I think it's going to be that either group or that person, that's mad scientist, is going to be the one that, like, we already know he's going after the flag smashers, but if he can't go after him, if his people can't go after him, maybe it's a thing of like, listen to the US government, like, these guys are coming to your shores, they're doing something or whatever. What if you get them back for me, if you take them out, and I'll make sure that your Captain America gets some of this serum. You know what I mean? But like you said, that has some like adverse effects on him. Because I mean, that's the point in Captain America, right? When he gives him the serum, he said, this doesn't just make you strong and everything like that. It takes what's good and makes it Yeah, it takes what's good and makes it better.
Yeah.
If you're bad, it makes you evil.
Yeah. And I think what he is cocky, but also I think he doubts himself as well. I think he's seen that in the first scene, where I think he
insecure.
Yeah, and like when he was saying, "Oh, I watched Captain America," he was like from afar and blah blah blah. It's like, you're a dick, mate. And Bucky's like having to watch it and go, "No, I watched it from like right next to him, like I was his mate." And obviously that's where he fell out with not fell out, but that's where him and Falcon have the conflict, because it's like you should have been the guy, and you've let this guy be the guy. So let me just grab some comments a moment. Matthew Dan says, would they give a soldier serum after Belinsky? Well, he would, wouldn't he? Because they're not asked. They've got super soldier serum, and the Abomination, he just got too much because his body was wrecked, and he kept on taking more and more and more and more, and that's how he ended up being the Abomination. So they'll definitely give.
Also, I mean, that was pretty early on, so you'd hope, like, in that time, maybe they've refined it as well.
I mean, you say early on. I mean, they'd had a good 50 years from the original. David Gibson says, "Do you think Thunderbolt Ross will give the new Cap the serum from the Incredible movie?" Yeah, he will. It'll be the super soldier, it'll be the same stuff, basically, or a different version of it. Because it seems like the stuff the Flag Smashers have got is like a watered down version. And maybe they're not like that all the time. Yeah, and I think Tom will do. I think the US agent will join the Thunderbolt. Yeah, I do. I think he'll become US agents, obviously, and then he'll be he will join them. And it might be Thunderbolt Ross playing both sides here, trying to get, because don't forget, people who are in that world, as we see in films, they're always trying to create wars to justify their jobs. So it wouldn't surprise me if Thunderbolt Ross was creating a war so that he can give his Captain America the serum. It gives him an excuse, and then it gives him an excuse to have more super soldiers. And
that's just the thing. It's not even just like a war now or a battle, is it? It's creating a super war. You know what I mean? Between superpowers, individuals.
Yeah.
Secret war. But yeah, I definitely think there's some solid thoughts in that. Just that, Thunderbolt Ross is kind of playing both sides because it's only going to benefit him. Like, look, we need a government sanctioned Avengers or Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're going to want to call it something different.
Yeah.
Since it's sanctioned by the US government.
Yeah, that's what he wants. He wants his own elite force of controllable Avengers, essentially, and that's what the Thunderbolts are, and he has to have bad guys, and he'll get bad guys. Tomo says maybe Ross takes it and becomes the Red Hulk. Maybe he does. I think that's down the line. What do we like? So I mentioned this to you last week, or this week, sorry, about the Doctor, Dr. Rayner, who's looking after Bucky. Someone shared a picture of the book she's using, and it looks like the book that was used to brainwash Bucky in Civil War, the one Zemo used, and we'll come to him in a moment. Could she be a fake doctor who is doing what Zemo did, who's trying to get into... Because Bucky, right, the world knows who Bucky is. He's been pardoned. We see him in this get arrested because he didn't check in with her. Everyone knows who he is. So everyone knows where he came from. Everyone knows what he's capable of. Well, a lot of people know he's capable of. Certainly, if you're in the world of espionage, you would know who he is. So of course, why wouldn't one of the other sides try and turn him? Like even Thunderbolt Ross. Why wouldn't Thunderbolt Ross try and turn him? Because if you can control him, what an asset he is. Because he's not. If you think about the Winter Soldier, he's not evil. Right, he's just controllable. He did evil things because evil men told him to do evil things. Right, he's just controllable. So if you say to him,
I was going to say he's a tool or a weapon.
So if you put him on there and say go and stroke those puppies, you're going to do that because that's what he's asked to do. But if he is a highly trained super soldier, because he is a super soldier. That's what he is. He's a super soldier. he was given, like, there's room to believe that he's actually more powerful than Steve Rogers was, and plus he's got like that arm as well.
I mean, I was going to say you saw them fight. I mean, I know it's different circumstances, but you saw him fighting Winter Soldier, and Bucky. I mean, I know Cap kind of like pulled his punches essentially. You know what I mean? But got his ass handed to him by Bucky.
He's got a vibranium arm as well. Do you know what I mean? So it wouldn't surprise me if this doctor was working for somebody else and was trying to use words, almost like reprogram him without him knowing she's not. So obviously we've seen Zemo use the key words to bring to get him. So what if she's using new words to program him, because he's been deprogrammed,
reprogram him,
because he's been deprogrammed in Wakanda when he become the White Wolf. But what if she is now putting things? Because she's already given 3 rules, hasn't she? She's already given 3 rules, and like if you think about it,
that's programming.
Yeah, that's the start. So what if she is actually one of the bad guys, and she's or she's being forced into doing it or something? Because
what if she's a relation to Zemo, like his sister?
Okay, Tracy Zemo.
Yeah,
Tracy Zemo. Okay, maybe I don't know whether Zemo's still asked by that, if I'm honest. I think, but maybe I don't know. I just think it's out there.
I was going to say, yeah, I mean, definitely, because again, something we've talked about on many podcasts is the fact that after Endgame, with all these people coming back, and you heard it in this episode, the government's introduced some sort of relocation division. There's just anarchy and chaos. Like all these people are just like back. Houses could have been moved into, families could have moved on. Like all this stuff is just, you're trying to figure out what to do with all these displaced people, because you've got one half of the population that's 5 years older, one half of the population that's still living 5 years in the past. So there's a very easy way for someone like that to slip into the ranks of the US military, like just unnoticed with, amidst the carnage, and just get in there and, start reprogramming Bucky. So it's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, I think there's definitely something in that. Definitely. We obviously got them. Bucky obviously took Sam to see what seemed like he was going to see like a friend, almost, wasn't he? When it was like a friend, and then
I mean, I guess that's as close as Bucky gets to friends. So
yeah,
outside of Steve.
But it was just the way it was set up, like it was going to be, this friend that he'd met in the 50s or whatever, and it turned out to be, another super soldier, an American super soldier, who he'd fought with and lost to as well. Actually lost to, basically, almost confirming what we've just been told. Someone who may have been more powerful than Captain America, more powerful than the Winter Soldier. And I just thought that was really interesting, because it was like the guy was still mega strong. And it just it gave you that different light. And I think obviously we know there's going to be a whole element of race in this show, and we've seen that just after this scene. But it does paint a picture, doesn't it? Like, a really interesting picture of what happened after the Second World War.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of it's tough watching that scene, isn't it? Because it's his name's Isaiah Bradley, served during the Korean War, and basically he was just saying, like, after my service to my country, they locked me up, basically used me as a lab rat.
Which really happened, by the way, as well. These things really happened.
I was going to say they injected African American soldiers with all kinds of diseases to try and test antidotes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Horrible, horrible things.
But it just helped. It helped introduce that idea of, that there had been a Cap before, and actually, a Captain American, obviously not in name, but it's certainly in stature and in reputation. And that if Sam was feeling like it was a case of it was his race stopping it, like he didn't deserve it, then he does deserve it, because actually he's taken on the mantle for somebody else and representing them.
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of bitterness and pain in that scene, that someone had been completely let down after going through who knows what.
Yeah, and that's just it. Like it's tough because you see it from Sam's side, and he's just like, you don't know what it's like for me as a black man trying to take on the mantle of doing this for a country that's still, loads of a huge population of racists anyway that are going to call out on that. But like the fact that you've got Isaiah Bradley, like who's already worn the colours, had the shield and kind of like, served for the military and then still got abandoned. It's kind of like, hoping there's some sort of connection and spark there that he deserved. He needs to do it almost like for that population of the country that feels underrepresented. You know what I mean? Like, to be their symbol.
Yeah, I think that definitely changed the way he'd been thinking about it. And then obviously straight after that, when they left it, the two of them started arguing in the street, and then the cops turn up and basically want to arrest Sam, which was hilarious.
Yeah. They're definitely not shying away from that kind of dynamic, are they?
Definitely not. And then it's like, and then obviously they arrest Bucky because he's got a warrant on him. But I just thought that was I thought it was a brilliant scene, that, because it was just like, this guy, because like we've seen like the Avengers that are left over are getting absolutely zero respect. Sam is getting zero respect. Like, he talked that in the first episode about like he's not got any money and he's having to go for a loan in the bank and he didn't get it. It was just that idea of like, all the things they had, the crutches to lean on have all gone. Cap, Tony Stark for the infrastructure and the weapons and just probably living on the campus and all those kind of things. It's all gone. It's all disappeared. There's no one left. It's all, like we said last week, these people now feel very much like on the ground people. Even though they've like super soldiers and army guys, they don't seem big and powerful because of what we've got now. So that was really, really interesting. And then obviously at the end we got the reveal of Zemo in prison. He is in prison. There's been a lot of question marks about it. A lot of people felt like he may have been out of prison. He might have escaped when the blip happened and all that, but he was very much in maximum security
in Germany as well. So like, but that was a very interesting. It was a very Magneto reveal. You know what I mean, with the classical music and him sitting in his cell playing chess. Like he gave me Magneto vibes from the X-Men days. So it's going to be interesting. I wondered how he was going to play into this series, like how they were going to pull him in, like what was the need for him, you know what I mean? So we got that reveal, so that they think there's going to be a lead there, that he knows something.
Yeah, and also because like we got the reveal as well that they'd been hacking into Sam's tech as well, the government. So I know he'd mentioned it in the first episode about like it being all glitchy, but we got the reveal that they had been hacking into his tech. So he's got no reason to trust anyone on the government side. He's been let down massively, and it's not like he ever worked for the government as well. I mean, you forget that. He was an Avenger, didn't work for the government. These Sokovia Accords come in and they tried to get them under, but they didn't work for the government. So suddenly he's been doing freelance stuff for the government, and that's fine. And obviously that's where we see them when they come into the show at the beginning with the flag smashers. But they don't trust they don't trust those people because of what's happened with the Sokovian Accords. So there is that element. So there's like no for them. It's like, well, we might as well go and get Zemo because this guy's sort of at the same place we are, just coming in from a different direction. So it's gonna, I think that's gonna add another layer because they're so distrusting now because of what's happened with the new Captain America and everything else. So it's going to be really interesting, this week's episode.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I mean, there was just so many interesting elements this week versus last week. Like we got a lot of setup and a lot of like foreshadowing, but like this week really kind of kicked the ball along and kind of moved the plot forward. You know, putting them together, getting them in action. You know, and then next week it should be moving faster. I mean, listen, it's a 6-episode season, so it really can't afford to hang about too much. It's just going to be interesting to see kind of like where they move it to next week, because like I said, we didn't expect Sam and Bucky to encounter the new Captain America this week, so who's to say what's going to be able to come in this week as well. So it was interesting as well. Like, it was a very small minor detail, but the fact that they actually showed Isaiah Bradley living with his grandson as well.
Yeah.
Because I think it was one of those missable details for anyone who hasn't read the comics or anything like that. But that would be Eli Bradley, who then becomes a Young Avenger.
Yeah, they're dropping the Young Avengers in, aren't they? Left, right, and centre. So far, they've been introducing them. Obviously, we're going to get another one in when we get Black Widow in a way, and then obviously Hawkeye as well. So and so it's and Miss Marvel as well.
Yeah. So there's a lot of these like young characters coming through that are really going to start to pad out the franchise.
We've had Cassie Lang as well, so and Billy and Tommy on Division. So we've had a lot of them so far. That's really good. So yeah, really looking forward to the it is. I really do like the fact that they've gone with this element of what have they come home from. It's always that thing in like war films or whatever. So what are you coming home to? You know, you watch like The Deer Hunter and things like that, and Platoon. It's what are they coming home to? Born on the 4th of July, and what they're coming home to, what Sam's coming home to, is no trust, no honor, no money in a way. And people hacking their systems. There's so and obviously you got the race elements as well, and I think that's really important for everything that's going on in America at the moment, that Disney are dealing with it like that and Marvel are dealing with it like that. It's such an important thing to be talking about.
It's one of those things. I don't want to say I'm shocked, but I'm happy. I'm just surprised that Disney is actually really handling it head on, and I'm really happy they did. You know what I mean? Because they could have. All the other movies, when you look at it, it's kind of like, okay, we've got a clear hero and a clear villain, and everything else is in between. It's just how do they, overcome that obstacle. But with this, because of the show element, and you've got to build out the time, like they're taking the time to kind of say, like, okay, well, how do heroes interact with citizens and vice versa? Yeah,
it was really, really good. So, looking forward to episode 3 when it comes out. It will be it's what in about 4 hours now, actually. It's 10 to 4 in the morning. Let's get on to our final thing, which is Godzilla versus Kong.
Yes.
Okay, so if you've not watched Godzilla versus Kong, stop listening, stop watching, and come back when you have. We don't want to ruin it for you. So we won't feel bad that if you leave us right now. So we're just giving you warning. We will be talking about it. Talking about the spoilers, talking about everything. So we'll give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I can't believe the Hulk was in this film. No, only messing.
Every week.
So yeah, I did watch Godzilla King of the Monsters on Saturday because I hadn't seen it. I thought it was good. I thought it was okay. I thought it was fine. I liked all the Hollow Earth stuff, and just that building that mythos. I thought that was good, and I liked the stuff in the trail in the after the credits as well. All the little snippets they use are really clever. It's like a really good way of doing an after credit shot without doing an after credit shot. Obviously, there was an after credit shot as well, with Charles Dance's character buying the head. But what did you think of this movie anyway? It's brand new movie, only been out a couple of days.
I just really enjoyed it. It's one of those popcorn films, highly entertaining. Like, there wasn't a lot of story, to go off of. Like, if you're coming in for the plot and you want to be pulled in by something like gripping, I don't think this is the movie for
you. You're watching the wrong film.
Yeah, it really is all about just big, massive monsters fighting each other, and just really it lives and dies by those battles and the graphics. You get the
Yeah.
3 kind of big fight scenes, and that's what I loved about it.
Yeah.
It was good, and you do have those moments, those elements where you've got the Hollow Earth theory, and you have each crew of humans kind of like trying to figure out what's going on. But no, it was just a really good film. It was just entertaining film.
It's not. Let's be honest, right? It's not a film that we could delve into for like ages and ages, because essentially they massively removed all of the human characters out of it, and
which is something they'd done in King of Monsters as well, which I'm sure you saw since you just watched it as well.
But like Kyle Chandler was in this for like 5 minutes, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he was in it for like 5 minutes. Literally, he was in it at the beginning and he was in it at the end. Like, obviously there was the 2 different sets of human characters in, but they were just adding stuff, and obviously it was good that they were there just to flesh out the story. But I did enjoy the fact that they just let like Kong and Godzilla go at it in many ways. I mean, number one, I thought it was interesting the way they retro fitted basically Kong's story by saying that he'd been in the Truman Show dome. Because like you could go, oh, why didn't Kong get involved in the other movies then? Why didn't he get involved in the last one if it's like a big fight between all the Titans? So I like the fact that they did that. They actually give us a story of why he wasn't, because he's been in this dome. That dome was that dome on Kong Island?
It was on Skull Island, and I think they drop it. Like, I'm surprised they didn't kind of give it a bit more platform to kind of discuss it. But I think essentially the storm that surrounds Skull Island had gotten out of control and swept into the island. So they'd kind of come in and built the dome to basically like try and save the animal life and to save Kong and to give him somewhere to live, because it just become completely uninhabitable.
Okay. Was that revealed in another film, or because
No. It was talked about in this film, but it was like it was a very quick very quick conversation, very missable detail.
Yeah, fair enough. And obviously we got Godzilla attacking the Apex plant, and then the whole thing of going to the Hollow Earth and Godzilla getting Godzilla to take him in, and then obviously we got the first fight on the boat, which was good. I was still a bit like perplexed about why Godzilla attacked Kong. I was like, I know they're supposed to fight each other because it's like the last man standing. It's like, the Highlander, but I was still a bit like, you've obviously got a beef with this Apex gaff. You obviously know there's something going on. So why are you wasting your time having a fight with Kong, who it's a 50-50, innit? You know what I mean? It could go either way, this one. Why are you wasting your time if there's definitely another enemy out there? But
I think that's good. The point that like the Godzilla was looking for something, right, and he just couldn't find it. Like he was chasing a scent or something, a signature. So like when he's first looking for the Apex thing, it's when they're testing obviously all the mechanical stuff, and something's going on. He's trying to find it, but then as soon as that goes dark, then that's when Kong comes out, and he's like, all right, well, now the signature's over here. I need to go invest. It's almost like an investigation, but like just trying to stomp it out.
Yeah.
Like when your dog hears the mailman, it's like,
I suppose.
Get out of there.
Yeah, I suppose. It was a good scrap, and obviously we got Kong then going to the Antarctic, where he just looked. I felt sorry for him. He just looked really dishevelled, didn't he? Really dishevelled with
bit of a big gorilla beard going on.
I did like it at the beginning, actually, when you seen him just wake up. It was like, I felt like that was like me or any man just waking up some days where you're just like lying there and just like, have a good scratch and and then throw a big piece of wood at the roof. And then obviously I thought the Hollow Earth stuff was quite good. I thought it was quite good, and like that there was a place where they all come from, and There was monsters down there, and you know, his ancestors were obviously the kings down there. You know, they found the axe and there's the throne and all that kind of thing. So I thought that was all really good.
Well, I was, you know, those scenes were interesting because I felt like they highlighted the fact that Kong isn't just like a big kaiju beast, kind of like Godzilla. Like he's shown some intelligence. There's a tool there. I'll pick it up.
He's also been talking, hasn't he, through sign language?
Yeah, exactly. Like, and that's what like they had to. I feel like they had to develop that, like his intelligence and how he approaches things. Because then I feel like when he actually comes to the big final battle with Godzilla, it's kind of like, because naturally Godzilla is the most powerful. I mean, I don't think it's a question there. But where Kong shows his elements is that he's a clever fighter. And I think that's, you know, you saw some of those things in the battle. Like, it wasn't just going toe-to-toe with Godzilla. He was, like, trying to get, you know, leverage and approach him from different ways, so...
Yeah, I know. And then obviously we got the other set of characters who had gone into the Apex factory that was in Florida that Godzilla had destroyed. They found that in the basement of lower 33 or whatever it was, that there was Apex were obviously up to something. They had what they called the skull crushers from.
Skull Crushers from Skull Island.
From Skull Island, like in eggs, and they found themselves in like an Elon Musk tunnel essentially to Tokyo.
He's definitely got one of those tunnels.
Yeah, Elon Musk tunnel to Tokyo, where they end up in the Apex facility there, where they come across Mega Godzilla, who Apex had been building to basically destroy Godzilla and what Godzilla had been sensing.
I love that little comment they throw in when they enter, and they're like, "Where are we?" And he's like, "This is a sacrifice chamber." He's like, "If I've ever seen one, this is where people come to die." And you're like, "Oh!" And then all the lights come on, and you're just like, "Holy!"
Yeah. And obviously, then we get the reveal that it was hardwired into one of the Titans from the last film.
Ghidorah.
Three-headed dude, with a very much like a Pacific Rim style piloting the it was very much like
drifting.
Yeah, very much drifting, obviously, and then we found out that it needed more power, and that's why they'd started the mission to go down to the Hollow Earth and find this power that was down there. Which they did. They reproduced it, which sent Mega Godzilla going nuts. Godzilla then realizes that someone's down. I mean, that was an amazing scene when he uses the breath to blow a hole all the way down there. I thought that was just amazing. I thought that was just brilliant. Yeah. Just thought, like, you do that when you want.
Just looking down the hole, like,
you. Yeah, it was boss. You up here, lad. Up here, if you want it.
Now, get outside.
And then obviously they go to town in Tokyo, and that's a brilliant scene. It's brilliant that they've done that in Tokyo as well, because obviously that's the, you know, that with you know, Asia being the real home of Godzilla, and I just thought that was a brilliant scene. Those two battling out, and then we got Mega Godzilla.
I was just say the visuals of it as well looked amazing with the skyline and the buildings and everything like that, and the different aesthetic of colours and stuff.
And what was good about it was you had them to fight. You had them fighting, and but all the scenes seemed different. Do you know what I mean? All the scenes seemed different. They wasn't just a standard fight. They were really getting into each other. And then obviously we got Mega Godzilla coming out, and they obviously did what we all thought they were going to do, which was team up together. You know, they went full, like, it's like Tango and Cash.
Batman versus Superman.
Yeah, it was like Tango and Cash, though, wasn't it? It was like proper, like, we've got to team up together to beat them. And this was after, like, Godzilla had got, Kong had got his axe and tried to smash him over the head with it and all kinds. It was a brilliant fight, and then and then obviously we got the 2-on-1, which led to Mega Godzilla's downfall, and like, you know, just I love after it was just like Kong and Godzilla just giving themselves a look, just like we're not friends.
Slowly back away.
We're not friends, but we respect the hell out of each other. Like Iceman and Maverick in Top Gun. You can be my wingman anytime. Without the volleyball scene, obviously.
Yeah.
No, it was a good monster movie, a good smash 'em up, a good just pure demonstration of just brilliant special effects and just letting the thing that everyone wants to see happen with just a very thin story driving through the middle of it, coming off what had happened in the other films. Yeah, and it's just interesting to see where it's going to go now. Obviously, at the end, we got Kong back down and basically in his home, isn't he? He actually says it's home in Hollow Earth. That's the new monitoring station, and that it's going to be interesting to see where it goes now, where they take it, whether we get more Titans or whether someone tries to manipulate that place because of the power supply, or whether there's unseen things down there, because we've seen a few little minor creatures down there, and they talked about other parts of Kong's family and those kind of things, and it's just going to be interesting. I don't know enough about the history of Godzilla and to understand what else there is out there that they can use in these films, or whether they're going to have to invent new things to put in them, because they're obviously going to want them to continue. They make a lot of money. People love them at a certain level. So I don't know if you got any thoughts on them. You got any thoughts where they could take it next?
Well, I mean, like you said, they can definitely explore the Hollow Earth, because that's a whole new environment now, and it looked pretty sizable, and you've got
well, it's essentially the whole of the Earth, isn't it? Like a smaller version.
Well, and you've got like 2 platforms now as well, because of the distortion gravity as well.
Yeah.
So it's just mad to watch. I mean, how they did that with the visuals was quite cool. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely other villains and as far as other monsters they could use. I mean, that's the interesting element of this is the bad guy is really always the humans. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I was going to say. What I was going to say. It's like, could the humans be more of the bad guys? Because what it reminded me of actually it reminded me of movies from the 70s, things like Journey to the Centre of the Earth, and also reminded me of the Land the Time Forgot and things like that. These films from like the 60s and 70s, which were like, the humans were always the bad guys. These almost like these utopian settings that people had found. That these there was I think Doug McClure was always in them in the 70s. It was like these utopian places that other people stumble upon and find them, and I think that could definitely be the thing of someone especially with the power elements up there. We know all the Apex people are basically dead. The guy who was actually the pilot, that was Thingyo's son from the last film. I didn't know that till I watched something on it earlier. So the guy who died. The guy who died. He was in the first Godzilla film.
Bryan Cranston.
No. The guy who died. Who was who?
Oh, yeah. I know who you mean. When he goes, let them fight.
Yeah. Well, that was his son.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was his son.
Okay.
That was his son. He was like the pilot. So he died, and obviously
that's interesting because his dad worked for Monarch, and obviously Monarch were the ones in place, like trying to protect all of this, and then he's gone and formed Apex and messed about and stuff.
Yeah. David Gibson says they should do a crossover with Pacific Rim and the Titan movies. They were made by the same studios. They were made by the same studios. So they could do that. Definitely. That's the kind of thing that they should do, though. That's the kind of thinking that they should go with. Put these things together because people will want them. There's no reason why you couldn't do that. There's no reason why now you could go, well, yeah, those creatures from Pacific Rim are going to come up, and actually instead of sending sending giant robots, you send Godzilla and Kong. It'd be amazing. My actual thought was it should be Godzilla and Kong versus aliens and Predator and aliens, or aliens and Predator. Just go the whole way. Just go the whole way.
Just lean in. Just lean into it all.
Just go fully in. Just go like we're embracing. I mean, because what can you do? You've just you've had Godzilla and Kong just basically destroying cities all over the world. Like, you know what I mean? If you're gonna go in, go fully in.
Yeah.
You know, go balls deep. Don't just put the tip in. Go absolutely balls deep. So, I think they're gonna have to come up with something which is just like a little bit out there. You know, like when you see like comics where it's like the Turtles and Batman.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They should go full in on it. So,
just explore the weirdness.
Big thank you to everyone who's still in the comments, by the way. This is live. If anyone's watching, this is live. Caesar's channel.
Not
this
pre-recorded.
Is live. No, Daniel Durate. Hello. This is live. People are like, it is 4:05 in the morning. I'm paired. Why are you doing this? Because I do this every week. Because I'm
fun.
Stupid. I mean, is it fun? It might be fun for you because it's normal time.
So I was going to say it's only 11 o'clock here. It's not stupid o'clock in the morning.
It's only 11 o'clock here. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you start doing it at my time, you sunshine? Yeah. So it was a good film. It was a good film, which was like nothing outrageously amazing. Had some real cool fight scenes. The characters are good, just in their own way, without being like really like, because those characters really could have been really annoying, couldn't they? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
Millie Bobby Brown's, or whatever her name is, she definitely could be really annoying. Like, I seen her say something today where she's like said she hadn't watched any of the Harry Potter films or any of the MCU films because she likes.
I don't like it when people say that. Like,
but this is what she said. She said, because I like things that are real. You were in Stranger Things and you're in the Godzilla films, love. Sort your head out. Do you know what I mean? Like, I haven't seen any Harry Potter films. I want to watch a National Geographic film about
having an imagination is ridiculous.
Yes, I want to watch films about moss growing on rocks in the Himalayas. That's what I do on a Saturday night. I
was gonna say it's kind of those comments like that just to like come out and be like edgy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's the whole. Well, it's like a whole Scorsese thing with like Marvel films are ruining cinema, and you're like,
I'm a real actor. I don't watch Marvel films.
I'm an actor.
Whatever. No, but they didn't get annoying. They didn't really get annoying. Even the kid from Deadpool was fine.
Julian Dennison.
I actually watched Hunt for the Wilder People the other night as well, again, which is just an amazing film. That's like the first thing
I need to watch that.
So good. It's like his character in that is just like, when you watch him in this and you watch him in that, you're just like, I want that character in this, because he's just he goes around going, yeah, I'm a gangster, aren't I? I'm a gangster. And it's just like, you're not a gangster, you're a lad with a dog. It's such a good film. Sam Neill's amazing in it. Sam Neill's absolutely amazing in it.
I thought it was interesting as well. Like, it's just a last little shout. The girl who played the young Iwi character, she was actually a deaf girl.
Was she? That's nice.
Alexander Skarsgård actually learned American Sign Language to communicate with her.
How come he wanted for coward then?
I don't know. Guys, must have skipped that one.
Good acting. No, it was good.
And he's an actor.
Yes,
they all learn sign language to talk with us. So like,
even the giant monkey.
Yeah. No, teach him for ages.
That's no, they didn't. They're clever. No, that's nice. That's a nice little. They're not like. See, the thing about it is what I like. What I don't. Well, not like what I like. I'm not like sitting here going, "Oh, these are amazing." I've only just watched the second one the other day. Is that they are what they are, aren't they? They're not trying to be something else. They're not trying to. And actually, there are like maybe not in this one, but certainly in the second one, there were like little moments of, sadness and emotion. Especially when Godzilla's in the hollow earth and they have to like start him. And I know they sort of use that trick again when when they put the thing on his chest, Kong, to give him the shock. So they used basically the same trick twice, but it did work in the second one. So they are what they are. They're not trying to pretend to be anything else, and I think they.
I was going to say I think it takes a lot of skill to know that, though. You know what I mean? To just edit your stuff to a point and like, listen, this is all we need it to be. Like, not trying to throw too much and seeing what sticks.
Yeah,
like trying to have it all.
Yeah, because when you like, if you go back to like the original, well, it's not the original, but if you go back to like the '98 Godzilla, which is god awful, like god awful. Like,
oh, Mathew Broderick.
One of the things about that film is it's like trying to be all things to all people, and then it's also like got Godzilla running around New York, but New York looks like it's come out of a '90s PS1 game or a '90s Super Nintendo game, because PS1 wouldn't even be around then. It's like every street just looks exactly the same, and it's just crap. Whereas this, like we were saying, it's at least with this you've got like even the fights are completely different. You're not like seeing the same moves getting thrown twice. So that's the kind that's where fans react and go, well, at least you're treating, because Godzilla's like it's a thing that's been going on for years and years. It's a well respected story, in its homeland. It's something that's massively loved, and it needs to be treated the right way. And at least, it's been, because like I know Kong's slightly different, and I don't even think the thing about Kong, what's weird about Kong is they're not even allowed to say King Kong, are they? They can call him King, but they can't call him King Kong because of rights. So it's even that. So, but even when we seen the last Kong film, the one from the Tingo did just after Lord of the Rings.
Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson. It wasn't. It was too long, and the CGI and the green scheme wasn't great and stuff. Bits of it were good, but it didn't. It doesn't. It tries to go too far. Whereas I think with these, what they do is they just respect it and just go far enough where you go, this looks good. It's respecting the characters, and all the special effects look great on it. So it's entertaining, and it doesn't have to be anything else. And that's all you want. That's all you want from a film like this. So,
and I was going to say, as far as I'm aware, even though it debuted on HBO Max, it still snagged one of the biggest box offices since the pandemic started. So even in theaters, it's still doing well worldwide. I think it's got 9.6 million in the US, and they think it's going to hit around like 30 million worldwide. So I thought, again, even given the fact that, HBO Max has caught a lot of flack for sticking these things on streaming services, people have still gone out and gone, yeah, but this is Godzilla Kong. I wanna go see it in the theater.
A lot of that was in Asia, wasn't it? So,
yeah, and it would be. I mean, again, that's a big audience for it there as well. So,
but
cool. I mean, 9.6 million in the US is a decent turnout. It's a third of what it's made so far. So, good signs, with things to come, like with
good signs, and obviously we've got
good vibrations.
Well, we've not got nothing really coming out, have we, as such, till like May. So, but no, it's a good start. Makes people feel things are, turning for the best, which is all we can ask for, really, and starting getting more positive. So, there you go. There you go. We've done our typical 2 hours, as always, because we can't shut up. Thank you if you've watched us all live, or we've sent you to sleep. Either way, we've done our job, haven't we? So,
some people waking up very confused on YouTube.
There are a lot of people in the comments going, "What's going on? What's happening?" Thought this was what's happening.
Just keeping them on their toes.
Yeah, we are. We're keeping them on their toes. So there you go. We will. We'll be back next week when we'll be talking about, obviously, Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 3 and whatever else happens this week. There's no major drops, I don't think, but there's always stuff. People will be ramping stuff up and getting stuff out in the next week. So we'll be chatting about that next week. If you would like to, get involved in the conversation, join us on our Discord. There will be a link. There's a link on there'll be a link in the description of this video. There'll be a link on our Twitter account as well, which is at Nerds Social Club, Facebook and Instagram as well. Our Discord's brilliant, absolutely brilliant, honestly. Just people talking about stuff all day long,
all the time,
all different stuff. There's different groups for all the different things. Spoiler tags, all kinds. Honestly, if you want to have a chat about something, you know, we've been talking all week on Toffee TV about mental health, and people not having anyone to talk to, and the state of social media as it is, and Twitter and things like that, and how horrible they've become. Well, I honestly guarantee that our Discord is, for the Nerd Social Club, is brilliant, honestly, and there's no standards for getting on. You can just join up, and it's excellent. Free to join, and we talk about all kinds on there. There's always someone talking about something in there, and you can get involved. So please do that, especially if you are feeling a little bit alone and a little bit down, and you want to just communicate with somebody in a safe place where you can just introduce yourself and people straight away will come and have a chat with you, because we will, honestly, we will. If you interact with us about something, we will interact straight back with you, no problems at all. So if you want to check that out, you go to our Twitter account at Nerd Social Club, or I'll put a link to it in the description for this video as well. We'll be back next week, and we'll do it live again next week, because I think this has been successful. Even if no one was watched, it's been successful as far as we're concerned, because we can hear each other, and that's successful as far as we're concerned. So there you go. We'll be back next week. Hopefully you'll be with us and do some live chatting with us as well, because I think that's been a good part of the show as well. There you go. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you later.